We put too much pressure on Tyler Perry. You know what I mean? He ain't put nobody on. Be what you gonna be, but put your people on.
Katt Williams didn't hold back. He called Tyler Perry Oprah's lapdog and accused him of using his power to tear down black entertainers. But this wasn't just a wild rant. It was the latest in a growing list of disturbing claims about Hollywood's biggest names. For years, stars like Mo'Nique, 50 Cent, Ludacris, and Dave Chappelle have all spoken out, saying the industry is run by gatekeepers who blacklist, control, and silence anyone who doesn't play along. At the center of it all, Oprah and Tyler Perry. What's really going on behind the scenes, and how deep does it go? It all started with Precious. Mo'Nique delivered a powerful performance that helped push the film to box office success. But while the film made millions, she was only paid $50,000, and when she refused to do international press for free, things got ugly. According to Mo'Nique, Oprah and Tyler Perry didn't just disagree with her, they made her pay. She says they blacklisted her, spread rumors that she was difficult, and used their power to block future opportunities. Studios stopped calling, directors backed off, and just like that, Mo'Nique's career hit a wall. What should have been her breakout moment turned into years of silence, and she says Oprah and Tyler were behind it all. Just when Mo'Nique thought things couldn't get worse, they did. Oprah reached out to let her know she planned to interview Mo'Nique's brother, a man who had abused her in the past. Oprah said the interview would only feature him, and if Mo'Nique wasn't comfortable, she'd cancel it. Mo'Nique, trying to be respectful, gave her blessing. But when the show aired, she was blindsided. Not only was her brother featured, so were her estranged parents, with whom she had a long and painful history. Mo'Nique says she never would have agreed to it had she known. To make things worse, Oprah never followed up like she promised. Instead, Mo'Nique was left watching her family trauma unfold on national TV, orchestrated by someone she once called a friend. Mo'Nique wasn't alone. Around the same time, 50 Cent shared his own experience with Oprah. He wanted to appear on her show, not for fame, but to prove to his grandmother, a lifelong fan, that he'd made it. But Oprah wasn't interested. According to 50, she flat out rejected him because of his music and image. That moment changed everything. He stopped trying to earn her respect and instead turned against her publicly, even naming his dog after her. Then came Ludacris. When he went on Oprah's show to promote the film Crash, he says the focus was less about the movie and more about criticizing his lyrics. To make it worse, Oprah reportedly edited out his responses, making him look bad on national TV. Two stars, two similar stories, both left wondering if Oprah's platform was really about uplifting black voices or controlling which ones got heard. Dave Chappelle's story took the conversation to another level. At the height of his success, he walked away from a $50 million deal and vanished to South Africa. When he finally spoke out, the picture he painted was chilling. According to Chappelle, Hollywood elites tried to control him, pressuring him into roles he didn't want, and even pushing psychiatric medication to silence him. He described being followed, harassed, and labeled crazy just for refusing to play the game. One of the breaking points? He was told to wear a dress for a comedy sketch. When he refused, they had an alternate script ready within minutes, as if they knew he'd say no. Chappelle's point was clear. This wasn't coincidence. It was part of a larger pattern, a pattern where black men are quietly pushed into humiliating roles while being told it's just part of the business. Dave Chappelle's story took the conversation to another level. At the height of his success, he walked away from a $50 million deal and vanished to South Africa. When he finally spoke out, the picture he painted was chilling. According to Chappelle, Hollywood elites tried to control him, pressuring him into roles he didn't want and even pushing psychiatric medication to silence him. He described being followed, harassed, and labeled crazy just for refusing to play the game. One of the breaking points? He was told to wear a dress for a comedy sketch. When he refused, they had an alternate script ready within minutes, as if they knew he'd say no. Chappelle's point was clear. This wasn't coincidence. It was part of a larger pattern, a pattern where black men are quietly pushed into humiliating roles while being told it's just part of the business. At first, Kevin Hart drew a line. In an early interview, he said clearly he had limits. He talked about how every entertainer needs boundaries, and for him, wearing a dress was one of them. "I know what my line is," he has said, "and I haven't had to cross it yet." It sounded like a strong stance. But then, not long after those comments, Hart appeared on Saturday Night Live wearing a dress, a full lace front wig, and playing a flamboyant character for laughs. The backlash was immediate. Fans who once applauded him for standing firm now accused him of caving under pressure. Some said he sold out. Others called him a hypocrite. The internet lit up with questions. Was it really just a skit? Or was Hart's turn in a dress yet another example of a quiet Hollywood tradition? That's when Katt Williams stepped in again. He defended Kevin personally, but made it clear the pattern was real. "Kevin doesn't have to worry about wearing a dress," Katt said, "because so many already did it before him. It was his turn next." Then he pointed to Martin Lawrence in Big Mama's House, Tyler Perry as Medea, Jamie Foxx as Wanda. Over and over, prominent black male comedians were being cast in exaggerated feminine roles, and while some saw it as harmless comedy, others began to ask a serious question. Was this a coincidence, or was it something more calculated? Katt's comments hit hard because they weren't aimed at one person. They were aimed at the system. A system where black masculinity was being rewritten on camera. A system where the line between funny and degrading was getting thinner every year. And at the center of that system, critics said, was one man who made billions off of wearing a dress on screen: Tyler Perry. Actor and voice coach Brandon Jay thought he landed a solid role on Tyler Perry's Meet the Browns. He was cast as Joffrey, a regular high school kid, picked on by bullies. But on the day of filming, everything changed. Tyler Perry walked into the studio, watched a rehearsal, and decided he didn't like it. Right there on the spot, he rewrote the entire episode. Suddenly, Brandon's character wasn't just a bullied teen. He was now gay and had a crush on his bully. And Jay was expected to learn the new lines immediately and play the role without hesitation. Brandon was stunned. This wasn't the part he signed up for, and he had never agreed to portray a character with that storyline. When he pushed back, Perry reportedly gave him an ultimatum: adapt to the changes or be fired. Jay contacted his agent, who reminded him that he wasn't legally obligated to stay. But the weight of the opportunity, the exposure, the connection to Perry's empire, it all kept him from walking away. In the end, Jay stayed and played the role, but it left him shaken. He later spoke out, revealing how the entire cast was under pressure, with last-minute rewrites, no preparation time, and a working environment ruled by fear. What stood out most wasn't just the role change, it was how sudden, intense, and non-negotiable it all was. Perry didn't suggest changes, he demanded them. To Brandon and others, it felt less like creative direction and more like control. And for critics already questioning Perry's influence, this behind-the-scenes story was proof that what happened on screen was just a small piece of a much bigger issue. Then came a revelation that shook everyone. Actor Christian Keyes, best known for his role in All the Queen's Men, broke his silence in a raw, hour-long live stream. He didn't name names, but he said enough. A powerful Hollywood figure, someone beloved, respected, and feared, allegedly tried to lure him into a situation he couldn't ignore. According to Keyes, this billionaire producer offered him $100,000 to strip, not for a role, not for a character, just for entertainment. Keyes said the same man also tried to pull him into bed and pushed for late-night meetups after auditions. He refused, but turning down that offer came with a price. Keyes admitted he's had to take the long road in his career, passing on major roles, turning down opportunities that came with strings attached. For nearly 2 decades, he's carried voice recorders and hidden devices capturing proof of what he calls predatory behavior. He said, "Predators resent the prey that gets away." And that's exactly how he felt, like someone being hunted just for saying no. While Keyes never confirmed who the producer was, fans quickly connected the dots. He got his big break in Tyler Perry's stage plays. They'd worked together since 2005, and Perry was the executive producer of All the Queen's Men, the very show Keyes was starring in. The connection was too close for comfort. To some, it felt like an open secret finally cracking. To others, It was yet another example of how power in Hollywood doesn't always come from talent. It comes from silence. And when you refuse to stay quiet, the industry makes you pay. After all the silence, the whispers, and the quiet exits, Katt Williams stepped up and said what? Others wouldn't. He didn't mince words. He accused Tyler Perry of using his platform not to uplift black entertainers, but to break them down. Katt said, Perry doesn't empower his people. He controls them. Then, he took it further. He mocked Perry's long-standing role as Medea, saying, he plays a woman in every movie because he can't play a man to save his life. It wasn't just about cross-dressing or comedy, it was about what it symbolized. Katt argued that Perry built an empire by putting on a wig and a dress, while other talented black men were being forced into roles that stripped away their masculinity. And instead of helping the next generation rise, Perry allegedly became a gatekeeper himself, deciding who made it and who stayed in the shadows. Katt didn't just take aim at Perry's career, he questioned his integrity. Why would you put that in your contract? He asked, suggesting Perry's entire brand was built on limiting others while playing the same stereotypical character over and over again. To Katt, it was never just about acting. It was about an industry that rewards silence and punishes truth. And he's made it clear he's not staying silent anymore.